written that I'm going to abandon because we're behind schedule. But I think we talked about this earlier today in the board meeting before the resolution. Some of the best work that's being done at this agency right now is on this area, internet freedom and circumvention. And we thought it would be good for the board to briefly hear today from the two branches of our agency that are doing this work. So we'll have brief 10, 15-minute presentations from RFA's OTF, and then from Andre and TSI, and then hopefully we'll have some time for a little bit of question answer at the end. So it looks like I'm introducing Dan, right? Or am I introducing Libby? Libby's over here with the camera. So Dan Meredith, who came actually is one of the few agency people to come visit me in London when I lived there. So Dan, take it away.
Thank you, governors, and everybody else for the time. Just as a quick intro, Libby is going around and using a couple of our tools. Hopefully we can show a quick little demonstration of what she puts together when we come to those tools. So just to start off with, this is the open, sorry, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here. Okay, here we go. We're the Open Technology Fund. We're a program at Radio Free Asia as part of the BBG's internet freedom effort as supported by Congress. We've been around we've had 2 full fiscal years. We've had 32 projects we support, and we spent about $10 million investing in those projects. Just really quickly, when we started off, we put together a little video to try to get our names out there because we were definitely the youngest, newest folks in the space. So I'm just going to start with that.
It started with silencing speech. Then they banned books, burned libraries, jailed poets. As each new method of communication emerged, those in power have sought to censor, disrupt, and monitor free speech. The internet and its open forum for ideas is today's front line. As the rise of online technology and social media creates new opportunities for free speech, over 60 countries still find ways to censor each new online medium. The internet reaches every continent in every hemisphere, and citizens around the world are being tortured, imprisoned, and even killed for their online speech. We believe that freedom of expression is a basic human right, and it needs digital freedom fighters. We are the Open Technology Fund, supporting the research, analysis, development, and deployment of tools and information that protect free speech. Tools that are available to anyone affected by censorship, interference, and illegitimate surveillance. The internet has the power to be our library, our meeting hall, our town square, and our megaphone, where everyone has a voice. And while freedom of expression has always been under attack, with your help and support, it will never be silenced. Join us. Follow and contribute to our current projects. You can help make the internet safe and open to all.
So again, this was made at the start. Now it's not really the good center for us anymore because we've sort of have 32 different projects. So I'm going to try to zoom through really quickly our program for you all, and then also end with as many projects as we can fit in 15 minutes. So short on time, I'll try to go through as quick as I can. So real quick, just 32 projects. We just picked 3 of the results. We really focused early on sort of a fundamental tenet that journalists, that citizens use in countries that are repressed, and that's text and email and phone calls. When we started this effort off, we had a few tools, just a handful that had about 200,000 regular users, and just in the last couple months we've expanded that to over 10 million users globally that are now using text and encrypted email and encrypted phone on a regular basis. As a core part of what we've been up to, when you're supporting technology and privacy tools, things you're trying to make safe, think of it as sort of a big financial audit. How do you do the technical due diligence like you do the financial due diligence? With that, we incorporated a policy of doing audits technically for every single one of our projects and crucial projects in the internet freedom space. The results, 30 technology code audits. We found 185 different privacy and security vulnerabilities, and those have all been fixed in subsequent releases or are currently being addressed. And then the not so sexy, but we're pretty proud of it for starting a new program to have such a lean operation and expend between 8 and 10% right out the gate. Means that we're giving the most of our money to these projects out the door and supporting internet freedom very quickly. And just again, we're very open and transparent. You'll see this. You go to our website, you can see who we gave money to, how much, for what, and what year. And so these numbers are also on our website in an annual report. You can see how much we spend on research, development, implementation, administration, under some focuses on creating more internet access, awareness of these tools, increasing privacy and security. More later. Demand, an interesting theory that we have is that currently internet freedom funds aren't accessible to as many good people out there that have great ideas to solve these problems. And so to try to test that, we created an open concept note process that anybody can apply to at any given time, and it's been unprecedented, the interest that we've got. And you can just see here we've had 182 concept notes seeking more than 77 million. That in itself isn't that important. It just shows that a lot of people are paying attention and looking. The next is more of an indicator of, through our diligence process, which we'll go through, we currently just this year have got over 20 projects seeking $6 million that are really, I mean, if I had all the money in the world, we would fund all those projects right now because they will contribute even if they fail to internet freedom. And then you can just see here sort of generally a trend that we're going through of lots of concept notes received openly, and unfortunately, just with demand of money and time, we only average about 20 projects so far a year, new projects. Okay, so OTF in detail. Again, I'm going to go really fast through some of this. We have an annual report that you can see all this in significantly more detail and much more of a narrative form. First, OTF is global. We're a program that addresses internet freedom globally. You can see all the red, various shades of red. These are countries identified by Freedom House that are repressing their citizens' free speech. Just a quick bit about openness. Again, on the bottom, if we start there, you can see everything we disclose publicly on our website in annual reports, our program spending, project supported, amounts contracted, and our decision-making process, our oversight, and performance metrics, all of these things. Going to just keep going through. Just a quick snapshot of 2013. We had about $4 million. We supported 20 projects. The average amount was $180,000. We improved our open submission process and got a significant amount of people because of that. And then we do improves our contract process. Most of them are 6 to 18 months. This very big document just shows our process. As Libby says, another interesting, we have an advisory council that reviews every single one of our proposals. They're independent. They're NDA. They have conflict of interest agreements. You can see them here. Again, this is all on our website. They look at everything and give us feedback. It makes everything a lot better. Really quickly, a question, or what we focus on. We focus on improving access to the internet in repressive places, awareness of privacy and security threats. We try to enhance privacy, address security of people online, the threat that they're opposed to, and we do that by supporting research, development, and implementation projects. And again, you can see a bit more here, way more about our theory of what these things mean. You can see on our website again. And then really quickly, we take those sort of high-level categories, and we have a bit of a process that we evaluate risk and assess the performance of projects. And these are very broad categories. We have sub-values for every single one of these that we look at for every single project before we support something to identify whether it's going to be a good use of public funds. And this is a value, a number, one of many that we give to every single one of our projects. And that's just an overview of the formula. Okay, so now we get into some of the interesting stuff.
Can I ask one quick question?
Absolutely.
I know you want to get to the stuff. Going on. Have you in the past continually funded things? When you have something that you funded, they come back for more funding? Is this an ongoing once a thing's funded, or is it just a one-time thing? You fund something and
that's a great question. So we prioritize new efforts, projects that we've never funded before, and projects that have never received, preferably any public funding, but definitely any funding at all. That said, we have done reoccurring projects, but we increase the bar, as you'd say. We make it significantly harder for them to prove that they deserve funding again, because again, our theory is that there are more people that have never received funding that are able to increase the efficacy of this space than keep funding the same ones. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we do prioritize. Okay, so projects writ large are a thing that we describe anything that we expend external funds into. So we have direct initiatives that we call outside labs as part of our programmatic effort, and then we have projects which are the tools that you hear us talk about a lot. One of the things we realized really quickly early on is that small efforts, especially folks that are getting $100,000 to $200,000, they don't have a lot of capacity. They have really, 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 really good ideas, but they don't necessarily know how to make the most secure code for their tool, or they don't necessarily know how to translate the tool the best way for a language. So we created a series of labs that we offer in-kind services for new organizations to go through so that they can increase their capacity and address some of the limitations in the space writ large. So these are the first sort of things, and these are close. We sort of serve as a project manager of 3 or 4 entities that will work collaboratively with these initiatives. So the first is a red team lab. Red team essentially means you have a problem. You may have heard having a red team, blue team, where you pretend you're on both sides of it. Well, in the code space, this is reviewing the code, reviewing the architecture, the chosen methodologies, why you decided to do it this way. We get external experts, so the folks not in the projects, and we have them just literally laser cannon all these projects so that we can find out, A, are they making good on the commitments and the promises that they're telling us they're going to make? And B, are they ensuring that the users are as safe as they possibly can be? So we do this for every single one of our projects. We also do this for folks that are crucial within the internet freedom space that we don't fund directly. So that's one of our labs. Another is a localization lab, and this is lots of really awesome ideas. The only limitation, it's just not translated to the local language. And the cost of professional translators can be significant both in time of finding them and then a platform that they can make use of. So we worked with TransFX and the Open Internet Tools Project to create a hub, and Adam's great work. In less than a year, we got over 1,400 translators committing to 30 projects translating, these are a lot of numbers, but 1.7 million words in 100 different languages, including Arabic, Farsi, Korean, Tibetan, Mandarin, Spanish.
Add something.
Yeah.
When the VOA said healthy.
Yeah, the time in getting a tool translated with this platform, I mean, Adam, you can go down, but we've got some really great anecdotal statements from our projects of, we weren't tracking it before, we're tracking it now. It took us over 6 months to get a fully translated language, and now it can take less than a month, which is really, really exciting. So just some slides of this interface that both translators and developers get access to. Another is a secure cloud. We really quickly found out that a lot of developers that were trying to access places close to censorship, they really only, if they wanted really good service, they had to go through Amazon, which has servers in the United States, a couple places in Europe, and Japan and Hong Kong at best, which isn't really close to a lot of affected areas, as we've seen in the presentations today. So we pushed a cloud close to these areas in places that we said, okay, we can put nodes and servers in, say, like Turkey, and know that it's probably not going to get rated if people are doing things that are in trouble in other places. And we talk about this openly on our website, but it is pretty interesting stuff. And then we give our tools in-kind access to this so that they can get really, really close and not have to send a proposal to us every time with system administration or engineering cost. And then we save money because instead of paying 30 different projects for exactly the same thing, we invest in it one time, and they get access to it, and we contract with these good folks to keep it maintained and updated, and it saves everybody money and time. They get to do the good work that they want to do, and we get to lower our overhead by not paying 30 people the same thing every single project. That was one of our first labs and one of the most successful. Legal lab, this is a really interesting one. Turns out lawyers really love working on things like whether or not you can send encryption tools or develop encryption tools in other countries that are currently against you, or sanctions, or all these other things. We don't know the answers to those questions. They had been asking if they could do reviews on some of our tools, and we said, well, no, we're not the ones to ask. If we make a web form that our projects can send an email to you, and we're not in the middle of it, will you help them directly? Yes. So these three entities have all agreed without us having to get involved at all. So it doesn't cost us anything, doesn't cost the projects anything, but they get legal advice on the tools that they're making, and it's, again, sort of expanding the capacity and the acumen in this space. Really interesting project. Okay, Rapid Response Fund, we're getting really close to it. We essentially have 3 project types. Rapid Response at the very bottom, these are under $50,000 projects that go through a really quick review that we give for, say, folks in Ukraine. Someone comes to us and said, I need $3,000 to get this very important group of activists online despite these blocks, or Turkey, or pick your country. Do I have to go through your crazy big proposal process? Well, no, we have this really, really narrow set of specific guidelines, and if you fit within those things that have already sort of been pre-approved, we'll get you through our process in a short amount of time where Libby, our legal counsel, our budget director will approve this, OTF does an internal assessment, and will respond very quickly rather than our bigger process, which can take, on the fast end, about 2 to 3 weeks, but still a significant amount of time. So we offer this for these very specific things, and it's been incredibly useful. This one I won't talk about, but if y'all want to talk about them privately, we'll tell you about these ones, because these are often really sensitive. So next is, we're going to get into some of our tools, finally. So Red Phone, it's very simple. Unfortunately, we focus on incredibly simple, easy-to-use tools, which means they don't have the sexiest demos sometimes. It's literally, take your Android phone, press call, and instead of it being a call that anybody in China or Turkey or Iran can listen to, they can't, and it's encrypted. So fortunately, some folks have made some interesting videos recently, so I'm just going to zoom through these really quickly. So Red Phone, encrypted phone calls. Oops.
Now, the way Red Phone works is that it integrates with your phone's standard dialer. But if you call someone who also has the app installed, you will get this option to upgrade to a Red Phone call. And if you say, yes, please, secure call, you hear this kind of cool dialing sound, like radar, boop, boop. And then when they answer, boop, 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 ding, we're encrypted.
and it really is that easy. And so that's, again, taking hard things, making them really simple, and then giving them to people globally. Yeah. Okay, so some more tools. CryptoCat. Again, this is a tool focused on making encryption fun, and so it looks fun. It's a very fun little interface, and they recently just went to iOS. So here's a little video.
So yesterday, a little chat app called CryptoCat went live in the App Store. Now, besides the fact that it's called CryptoCat and therefore very cool already, it's a really simple concept. You give yourself a name, you give your conversation a name, and then you can chat with any of your friends using their chosen handle with the same conversation over a layer of built-in encryption so that this conversation is impossible to intercept by anyone else.
Just to be very clear, we don't endorse that whole last statement. There is no perfect security, and impossible implies something that we really strive for, but know is not attainable. But still nice to have someone make a really cute video about something that we support. So Chat Secure, this one's video it just goes, so I'll just describe it really quickly. If you send a message on Facebook or Yahoo or AOL through your mobile phone or through it's very easily and proven to be something, if you're in China and you do have access to it, or you're in Iran and you do have access to it, it's likely that they can just by default take a look at what you're saying and try to get a hold of your social graph and all these other bits. So Chat Secure is a project called Gibberbot here. They've changed their names a couple times, which essentially makes those communications very difficult and I won't say impossible like the woman said, but very difficult to read. So it increases your safety in social networks. And this is just a mobile app. Okay, next. StoryMaker is a fun one. This is one of the ones that Libby is demoing. I'm going to go to it, but essentially this is an app for journalists to make
StoryMaker.
Videos just from handheld mobile devices.
Stories. We do that in a few ways. In this video, I'll take you through the process. When we first open StoryMaker, we're presented with 2 sliding trays explaining the ideas behind StoryMaker. These will go away once we start making stories and taking lessons. In the top corner, we can access a tray to move around to different parts of the app. The titles are self-explanatory, but a very nice feature to point out is Quick Capture. These buttons at the top allow you to immediately jump into creating a new story if you're in a rush. Now that we have an idea of how to get around, let's get...
I'm just going to pause really quick because it gets really into it, and Libby is going to show us a little bit what comes out of this. And just as an aside... Yeah, I gave her this tablet an hour ago and said, like, start having fun with a couple of these apps. But essentially, StoryMaker, when I was at Al Jazeera, we had a really big problem where we couldn't get information from our field journalists and sources, sorry, a little bit of interesting technical goodness. And so we said, let's focus on mobile because everybody's got mobile phones in the Middle East, especially in the Arab Peninsula. And this was a tool that came out of a meeting I had with some folks at Al Jazeera, and then I left, and they just sort of came up with it a lot on their idea. Let's see if this, well, at least we have the other TVs here. Oh, here we go. So Text Secure, same developer as Red Phone. It's exactly the same idea. How do you make text incredibly easy and secure without anybody having to know how to do anything but already send what they already do know how to do is just send a text. So she's going to show this to us again.
Now, when it comes to secure texting, my favorite app is sadly also Android only. It's called Text Secure, and it comes
Only
from the
for
same
another
people
month.
who make Redphone. If the other user has it installed, it is super easy to use. It just encrypts texts back and forth, and it replaces your standard texting app.
That's it. There is no sexy thing to show. It is your text app. Just in the background, it's making everything safe.
It's only Android for 1 month.
Well, so this is a really, yes. I could personally give you the app right now for your iPhone, but Apple won't allow it because they just have a really big review process. And for open source technologies that use encryption, fortunately, this is a good thing. They do a really diligent review process to make sure that there's no malfeasance going on in the background. And so it's just taking a little bit longer for them to go through that process. So that's really exciting for, I know a lot of folks in the room who use iPhones. Okay, so next we've got the Tor project. This is a staple of the internet freedom community. And just to be very clear, we got this last year after really amazing work that IAC had been doing, being one of their biggest significant funders for, Andre, you guys have 5 or 6 years. And the reason for that was lots of good reasons, but mostly I think Tor had some really innovative stuff to do, and something for Andre to go into later. There's a space that we try to do where things really close to the BBG, things that are really close to sort of trusted, known technologies, which also isn't entirely true because you do some really sexy stuff as well, but that we try to keep those swim lanes going, and Tor wanted to get into some really interesting stuff that required security audits and a lot of extra diligent work, and so we moved over to us. This is a really quick video about Tor.
I just can't live without my computer and the internet. They are such an intimate part of my life. I believe that new technology can bring change.
For me, the important part is freedom. I really think all people should have the right to express themselves.
I'm part of the Tor network because I have family living in a country where they are not allowed to connect with us.
And the Tor network is I would love to explain it to anybody who wants to know more about it. It's probably one of the most technically complicated projects that we support, which also means it's one of the most effective. Well, that's not always exclusive. Let's see, next. Sorry about that. Orbot, these next ones are essentially mobile versions of Tor rather than just being a desktop version. So we just put them in there to let you know that both for iPhone and for Android, you can use the Tor network right now if you'd like to. And then, or web is, again, it's not just good enough to run this thing, it's having a web browser that you can use to access Facebook and other websites safely, and this is a mobile version for that. Really getting close to it. Cupcake Bridge, okay, just as an explanation, Tor is such a cornerstone of internet freedom that there are at least 5 or 6 other projects that all make use of Tor and build on top of that to do other things and expand its reach. Cupcake Bridge is one of those. This is essentially, there were about 2,500 people, as that video was showing, expanding the Tor network on a volunteer basis on their own, and it wasn't the easiest thing to do. This little project cost us less than $100,000, which you can see on our website, and it doubled that by allowing people to expand the network just by opening up a web browser. And so now what you have is a much farther reach, a much more expanded network because of it, and a nice little icon. Measurement Lab, this one's in here because it's really interesting. We don't know enough about censorship, period. We don't have data, we don't have massive collection in network states, we don't have lots of really interesting stuff within countries and around the world. So Measurement Lab, working with a tool called Uniprobe, is a tool to collect states on the network to find out how censorship works, when it's happening in a near real time, and they have over 120 servers all over the world. I'm just gonna zoom right through this because this video is a little bit long, but Measurement Lab, if you Google it, it's great. That's our tools. Sorry, not the most engaging, but super, there's a lot there. Go to our website, click to their pages, you can learn a whole lot more about it. And if you have any other questions, I'd love to meet with you all in person, and there's a Q&A coming up after Andre's presentation.
I have a quick question while Libby gets connected. So you mentioned a couple of times, Dan, about the internet freedom community.
Yeah.
Where around the world are, if you're Cupcake Bridge or somebody else seeking funding, besides us, where would you go?
That's a really good question, and I think that there's, I think of this as sort of 3 different groups generically that fit into the global community of supporting internet freedom. One is public funders. So we'll just start there with your question. As far as public funders, there's the U.S. by far the biggest funder of this effort. I would say another really up and coming one are the Germans, but the Swedes are I mean, they're the most engaged through their equivalent of USAID in their foreign ministry. They spend a lot of time thinking about this and investing in this space, and we work with them pretty closely to make sure that we're leveraging each other's public funds there. The Germans, again, are really coming forward with it, but they haven't quite chosen whether they're going to establish one avenue or not.
But I guess so that's a good answer. My question is within the U.S.
Oh, within the U.S.
Yeah, does the State Department have other branches that are doing stuff like this, USAID? Are there lots of different places that people are kind of doing this, and are we coordinated in what we're doing?
That's a great question. Sorry to get it broader than the very specific.
It's great.
Yeah, so the flagship Internet Freedom Program still to date, without doubt, is the Department of State. They've had $25 million for quite some time. They've been in front of this, and they've been working with USAID. So their reach and their experience is pretty deep. That being said, what Andre has been up to at IAC has been a core part of what the BBG has been doing for over 5 years. And even though the budget wasn't $25 million, his experience and what he's been able to do for the entities in specific is significant. So when I say flagship, it's mostly just by size. And USAID, again, they do a lot, of course, in the news, some of their internet freedom efforts recently. Other public funders, you know, you get to the National Endowment for Democracy, the NDIs, the folks that come from the Democracy Fund. They don't do this specifically, but they have projects that are tech-focused. To your collaboration point, with the BBG, with the Department of State and USAID, on a monthly basis, we meet with them both formally and then sometimes in moments like this where we're working on a spin plan, you know, we meet with them daily, having various conversations, being like, okay, how are we going to manage this? How are we going to say that? Let's all make sure we're on the same page.
Great. All right.
So maybe we, that might be me. There we go.
For other people. We're still live.
Okay, so what I did while Dan was giving his presentation is use the StoryMaker app, which is no longer showing. Okay.
Give it maybe you need to hold the port in. The thing about mobile phones, they haven't quite figured it out like we do on computers yet.
Okay, so I'm showing you the home screen after you've started StoryMaker. So I'm going to pick a story, which I've taken a whole bunch of pictures on while we've been here. And I'm going to ask to edit it. And you can see there that I have lots and lots of photos that I've taken. I've decided that, you know, I don't like this order, so I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it any second now. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so I would like it to be like that. All right, so then after you put it in the order that you want, you can tape a voiceover over it, and then I hit publish, describe my story, test, and export, and I'm going to share it. And then I'm going to share it over Gmail. So you see how easy it is. It looks just like an email now. What you don't know is that it is encrypted and compressed in that process. The other one that I was playing with is ObscuraCam. And you can see here that you don't know who that is, but to...
The tie is an identifying.
Okay, so to do this, this is meant for being in a demonstration where you don't want to out the people who are, you know, going to be killed later on for being there. So you take a picture like this. I'm going to say Crocker, and then you save it because I like that picture. It's going to look for a face on the picture. Can't find a face. And then I'm going to obscure it. Ta-da! And then I can just also send it encrypted anywhere I want. So, okay, those are just two that I learned on the fly right now.
We have a phrase which is I'm constantly saying to some of our projects. Some of them don't have bosses, but it is so easy that your boss can use it. And Libby is one of our big testers when it comes to diligence.
Guinea pig.
Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you, Dan and Libby. Andre, why don't you take it away?
All right, let me see, make sure that my mic is on. Is it? Can you hear me? All right. Dan was very kind in his words, but he's somewhat misguided because he talked about all these things that Andre has done over the last 5 years. Yeah. So Kelly Dio and Shoho, they're the stars of the show. They're the ones that have been here since the beginning and have been doing all of this amazing thing. My role has mostly been to interact with Libby and Michael Meehan sometimes. But moving forward, But obviously moving it forward at a pace that not only is very rapid, but also very recognized by everyone, including, of course, the government. I wish they had been a little more giving rather than prescribing in the lead integration. I'm on, baby. That green light says yay. All right. I mean, I can scream, but the green light is on. And by now you all know that I'm somewhat informal, especially when I'm presenting. If I have to sit at the table, I'll sit at the table. Okay. There we go. So, sexy. What is the definition sexy? For me it is. For me it is. Because I'll tell you what, internet anti-censorship. It is a big mandate, as you all know, and as the folks from OTF made very, very clear, the situation across the entire world is changing rather rapidly, and everybody has understood that, blocking radio only takes you so far in making sure that people can't get the information. And so now the effort is on full bore to make sure that the digital realm is not penetrated either. So this is something that the first time I saw it, it captivated me, and today it still gives me chills because I can't help but think, having been in China 6 or 7 times, that every line that you see going on that screen is an individual behind a firewall in China using BBG-sponsored tools to get to the internet, to all of those sites that you see scrolling through. So if you think for just a second that this is not just a scrolling site, but individuals in China that are using our tools right now to get the access to the information that they're being denied. But it's not just China, because in Iran, with the vaunted Iran firewall that is supposed to, get better on a regular basis, right? Control-C, IR, enter. There we go. And all of these folks are from Iran, and they're doing exactly the same thing. And it is prime time in Iran, and they're going to FastClick and to Facebook and to Google and to downloads and to all of the places that you can access right now in your freedom, but that they can't without using our tools. Whether you're in Syria, the same thing is true. The environment in Syria right now is about as toxic as it gets. Here they are. These folks are in Syria accessing the internet via our tools right now. But, there are a variety of ways in which I could show you how this really works. So, Sho, if you could stop that and bring us our first video demonstration. So this was... And so this is a video that was sent to us from Tehran of an individual trying to surf the web and going to voanews.com and immediately being told by the nice Iranian government that they will not be allowed to do so. Or trying to go, let's say, to YouTube, something that, the population just wants to do. And the same result. Why are you going to this site? You can't, right? And so let's use one of our tools. Let's use Siphon 3 and see what happens then after a brief second during which the system goes through a set of servers, actually 42 for this particular individual, that have been identified by this tool as being available inside of Iran to provide access to the outside. And it goes through the login process, and after that is established, within literally 30 seconds, we can try again, and let's see where we can get to. Because I heard that VOA Persian has some very interesting stuff on their website, and I would like to see it. And as you go through the tools, your speed slows down a little bit because you have to go through a circuitous route, not your direct route. But there we are. And you're inside of Tehran, and you are now accessing the Persian CNN environment. I'm sorry, the Persian VOA environment. But let's look inside of China with another one of our tools, right? And in this particular case, we made sure that we could show you that this is indeed an IP address from inside China that show just obliterated, because we want to make sure that in a public forum, not everybody was going to see where this IP address is coming from, right? But so this is a user, a friend of show, if I'm not mistaken, that is inside of China and that was trying to access VOA News, VOA Chinese. And the nice little firewall of China says, you are not going there. This is content that is not allowed. And so they deploy another one of our proxies by Washington Software. And lo and behold, presto changeo, you are indeed able to access the Chinese content from VOA that you cannot access in China without going through these type of tools. These, to me, are incredibly powerful demonstrations that indicate that what we're doing on a daily basis is generating results, is allowing people to get the access of the information that is the charter of this organization. So, a brief set of numbers, and first we're going to show you an application that we've developed called Big Buffalo. And what is Big Buffalo? Well, it is an Android app. It's a newsreader that allows you to not only select various newsreaders for downloading a service, but it has a Tor-enabled backend so that it uses circumvention tools to navigate through the web and be able to look at any of the content from news sites like VOA, like CNN, like RFA, and then share that content with other individuals via your cell phone, via messaging, via Bluetooth, all on the fly. And with a very interesting characteristic here. Let's assume that the secret police is actually knocking on your door. And all of a sudden you say, wait a minute, I have a problem here. Well, you press one button for a certain period of time, 3 or 4 seconds, and it brings up a kill switch. And this kill switch, if you do what the kill switch tells you to do, which is to swipe down to delete the app, will remove any and all traces from your cell phone that this app was ever installed or that any content viewed via this app was ever there. Boom. 5 seconds, you're done, right? So when the secret police confiscate your phone, that is not going to be one of the things that they're going to come after you for. Okay? So let's move on to the next item. And there we go. Okay, so I wanted to share with you a few numbers because at the end of the day, what we're talking about is enabling people to come through. Don't make me remember those numbers by heart. That would be very difficult. Okay? And now I take over. Very good. Utilization statistics for UltraSurf. I asked UltraSurf to basically produce their statistics for fiscal year 2013 and the first half of fiscal year 2014. In China, total hits in 2013, 37.5 billion, right? Total hits in the first half of this year, 26.5 billion, right? So at a rate of about 52 billion per year. In Iran, 41.7 billion last year, 24 billion in the first half, so going up to 48 billion this year. Vietnam, which is this incredible ecosystem for accessing the internet via anti-censorship tools. Libby speaks eloquently about this. This is second nature for the entire Vietnamese population. They are the biggest users. So with the fraction of the population of China, look at those numbers. Total hits in 2013, 125.4 billion. And total hits in 2014, interestingly enough, 28.7 billion, a marked drop over the last 6 months. And we don't quite know yet why that is the case. No, this is fiscal year. I asked them for fiscal year. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and, we're in the federal government, we just have these filters, come upon us, yeah. And so another tool that we use, Siphon 2, that is very, very popular in Iran back about 2-3 years ago, but it's still very popular in Iran in specific platforms. Total page requests in 2013, 36.9, and total page requests so far, 16.3. But a very interesting thing is that the top destinations is a mobile site, clearly indicating that this tool is being used on mobile phones rather than on the desktop. Facebook, Shavhani, and then Radio Farda. Okay. Now, Siphon 3, which was the next generation that we had to help Siphon develop and sponsor the development of, because the Iranians really went after Siphon 2, obviously not totally successful. In the total data transfer, because this tool measures traffic a different way, 993.3 terabytes, okay? Now, if you're one of those people that don't know anything about computers, just trust me, this is a boatload of data, okay? And total data transfer in 2008 and 14, 821 terabytes. Okay, but a sharp drop-off recently. Over the last 2-3 months, we've seen a sharp drop-off in this tool, which clearly indicates that we're going to have to help them with some development going forward, and Siphon 4 has got to be around the corner sometime soon. Okay, Washington Software. We blast email newsletters for VOA and RFA, and we have 20.7 million subscribers. Total sent in 2013, 4.7 billion. And in 2014, 22.5 billion. So, I mean, we're just shipping this stuff out like crazy. The web proxy that works for 17 language services in VOA and RFA. For China, 20.7 million in 13, 18.6 in 14, and for Iran, 135.5 million in 2013. Just an enormous amount of traffic. So, just a couple of thoughts, because these are big numbers, but what they really mean. What they mean is that during the 1 hour during which we were doing this panel, right, that at an average 1.6 billion hits per day, during this hour, 67 million hits enabled by just one of our tools have taken place, and that at an average of 5 billion newsletters a year, that 571,000 newsletters have been sent on behalf of VOA and RFA as we speak here, as we sit here, as we talk about these things. So, but we've also done a couple of other projects. In one, we're actually doing one-way distribution of the internet content via satellites into Iran and now testing into Latin America. But we've also done some very interesting things with satellite television, where we could do cross-platform promotion, so that your radio content and your TV content are now providing people with the access to the tools, which are going to enable them to go to the next level of platforms. So, Sho, if you could bring up the video. Did you lose it? Did I lose it? Not you, me. Yeah? Nope. Okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I was going to show you the satellite feed for VOA Weishi, where there is a substantial amount of interstitials that talk about the internet tools. And that we have coming back to us on a monitoring tool via the firewall, so escaping the firewall, and basically, oh, there we go. And so this is actually coming back. Let's put it this way. This one is actually the signal going out. This is actually the signal going out, but what we had earlier on running is actually coming through the internet via the firewall and being streamed back into this building, the signal that we have 24/7 into China on the most popular satellite, with a total potential reach of 220 million dishes that are now calculated to exist in China in the KU band, and for a cost that is absolutely ridiculous, about $384,000 a year. So with that, we conclude my presentation, and I guess Libby and I can now get back into Q&A, or Dan, or a combination, right?
Yeah, I think we have a minute or two if there's any questions for anybody. This is really, really impressive stuff, both Dan and Libby and Andre. And we wanted to get the board to get a quick taste of this, especially since we're about to spend a lot more money on it. Any questions? The board is Tara. Ken.
How do you think about you obviously have to think about the enemies of freedom using these tools. I'm reading how Snowden used Tor to send documents to the Post and the Guardian, and what are your thoughts on it, and what if anything can be done about situations like this?
Well, Dan, I'll be more than glad to start first, and then you can come in. Well, one of the problems with any technology, any communications technology, is that if it can be used for good, it can be used for bad. And in this particular case, it becomes an even more sensitive issue because we are trying to evade the censorship from individuals that are trying to negate access to information. Well, that is going to be used by individuals that are trying to do nefarious things and not be detected by people who are trying to detect nefarious activity. But that has always been a situation, Governor, where the tools will be used. I mean, the Internet is a fantastic tool for the development of the world from an economic standpoint, from a literacy standpoint, but it has been used for illicit purposes on a regular basis. Our highways have been used for such. Television has been used for such to distribute horrendous propaganda. So it is a very tough situation, and I don't know that there is an easy solution where you don't compromise the premises that you're trying to establish in the first place. Dan, if you want to elaborate on that.
Here.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot much more. That is exactly the same rationale that both, as I describe it, the Department of State and other folks, when we address this in our spin plan every year to Congress, Andre very eloquently laid out exactly how we describe this. And I think on just one other thing, we do ask that our tools report back if they find that that there's a complaint that most of the exactly is for illicit use, and reevaluate how to mitigate those risks when it does happen. But that is rare. Most of the use of these tools is predominantly for the sort of folks that we're trying to help. So
overwhelmingly, yep.
It's very helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's we tackled a lot today, so let's thank you, Andre, thank you, Libby, thank you, Dan. Today at the board meeting, we tackled Iran, Ukraine, internet freedom, and all of Asia. So it's a pretty lot going on at the agency and a lot going on at the board meeting, but thank you, everybody. The next board meeting, for a little warmth, will be held down in Miami, Florida on June 20th, 2014. The next agency up, and quite a tough act to follow after today, will be OCB, and they're going to brief us on their activities, followed by another interesting panel discussion that we'll announce in coming days. I'm going to work closely with the other governors and BBG Executive Director Susie Carroll to develop the agenda for the next board meeting. In the coming weeks, if any governors have any input regarding other topics they'd like to see addressed at the next meeting, I'll do so. I would also note that we did in our Iran resolution today, the resolution calls for a presentation at that meeting too, so that'll be on the agenda as well in Miami. Any other comments from any governors? Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we received the record of decisions of today's meeting. Is now the time to talk about matters on that?
Why don't we do it after the meeting if there's amendments to that, because it's just something we sign to after the meeting. So if there's amendments, get it to Susie, and then we'll recirculate it.
Maybe more of a clarification instead of an amendment?
Sure.
I wasn't prepared to offer amendment. But, so on the just on the Internet circumvention funds, it says the current approach to allocating shall remain the same. That's not what we decided. The previous allocations were project by project basis, and then the sum totals went to each place. I believe the committee decided to split the funds. So it would be more accurate to say that the committee's decided to split these funds, not the same allocation, because the allocation is 32 programs versus 10 programs. Okay. That's not what was decided.
So the only thing I would say is we voted on that and passed that as it was written. So we can't now go back and, didn't we, Paul?
Just to be, if you, that was the intent. What Governor Meehan just said,
well, Paul,
and that's why the next that's what the next phrase says. And the spend plan that is submitted to Congress shall reflect an allocation of half of the 25.5 to TSI and half to RFA. So that was the intent. Was
okay. So maybe it's just sort of cleaning up the language on the report so it reflects.
Okay.
The current approach is what that was the intent.
Okay.
Can I suggest this? We passed this. This is what we passed. It passed already.
Well, not this. This document came out after we passed stuff.
That was the language that Governor Weinstein read out.
I think Governor Meehan, you hadn't shown up yet. So here's what I would suggest we do. This document reflects what we voted on and passed. If we should clean it up, we should absolutely clean it up. Why don't, Paul, could you get together with Michael afterwards, and if there's edits to clean it up, let's clean it up and submit it by a notational vote after this meeting, and I'm sure we'll all vote if it cleans it up and clarifies it. It'd be totally fine.
I think if it's okay, Mr. Chairman, what I would suggest is that we add just a note to the minutes of the meeting explaining that the language in the resolution is interpreted as what you just said, that it's a 50-50 split, and that we don't have to.
Well, why don't you guys get together offline afterwards? Because I'm not sure if that handles it. So, Governor Meehan, if you can share your comments to Paul, if that handles it, and Governor Meehan, if that's to your satisfaction, adding note to the minute, fine. If not, I think we should amend it, circulate it around to the board, and we'll pass a cleaned up version, if so. Okay.
My second issue is on the Iran amendments. I just, after talking with staff after we had our votes, just to be clear that the board doesn't release sensitive information when it attaches the report. So there's a delineation between sensitive information that was in the report and what we put in public. My interest was only to have the last page of Appendix 5, the goals, and be part of the public record, not sensitive information.
Got it. Okay.
And then the other moment that I just didn't want to let pass in the open meeting was that inside the Ukraine activity, which we didn't do a little Q&A because I know we're pressed for time, but the Balkan situation is one that we, the board, have are acutely aware of the changing circumstances there since the 2012 decisions that the board then made to wind it down. And so just for folks know that there's active consideration about how we, the board, approach the Balkans and know that Congress has language in there and are working towards that. So just wanted to be clear that we state in public that the board is aware of the changing circumstances and is looking for solutions.
Yeah, we wish to provide some funding there to even go even further. Exactly. So we're working with our constituents to try to get to a solution there. So.
And then my last point of clarification is in the code of conduct for the BBG board. I'm sorry I wasn't here. I was doing my homework on Iran when you covered this. But I assume that the federal policy on code of conduct applies to board members even without extended, even without this resolution. But I also assume that if a board member, including the chairman, has an allegation of impropriety or the appearance of impropriety, that all the board members would be made aware of that in a timely manner. That it wouldn't be something that we would have to find or not ever find out about. I mean, it spells out a different path, but I just assume that federal law superseded whatever the board decided. If there's an allegation, the allegation should be made known to every board member, not just the chairman or one branch or the other branch.
I would agree with that policy, I guess, subject to confidentiality or any other issues that might affect that, but that would be my understanding too. Paul?
Yes, but the question is, a lot of times you want to know, is there really a problem here? And you don't necessarily want to broadcast to everyone. And also, but I think we will get to where you want through through following what's in here. That's, again, kind of the intent.
That's a good point. It can be an allocation at any time or any reason. It doesn't have to be substantiated. So before we share it with everybody. But, you know, just for the record, I'm not aware of any allegations at the moment. So there's nothing in here this is meant to kind of satisfy the IG's request that we pass a policy. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And then the language service review calendar, I know that Rob sent it to me last night. I know we're a couple weeks underway, and I know there's a change, and you're going to brief us on that. But I would love to have a little more information about when they're scheduled, because there are things I'd like to come by too.
Absolutely. I will distribute the calendar to the whole board. In your packets is a description of what's going to happen, and we'll make sure that the specific dates for anyone who'd like to attend as a non-delegable authority of the board. And the language service part of that, not necessarily strategy review, we would welcome every governor to participate.
Yeah, and once that schedule's out, put it out to everybody.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Great. Any other governors have any comments? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting until our next meeting in Miami? So moved by Ken Weinstein, second. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. We're going to have the RFERL meeting in here, I think, in a couple minutes now.